Hello everyone and welcome back to Navakokan Education Society's DBJ College Chipulun. Myself Mr. Arun Zadhav from Department of Environment Education and Water Security. In our previous sessions we have talked about population growth, rural and urban settlements, urban issues and indigenous communities and traditions. And today we are going to talk about the next point, that is environment and health. It is one of the important point from the first lesson, humans and environment. So in today's session we are going to talk about the relationship between human health and environment. In this session we will discuss how are the basic components of environment, that is water, air and soil, related to human health. So let us start today's session. Natural resources are the gift to humans, and this gift is one of the precious gifts humans have ever got. Good conditions of air, water, soil and biodiversity enhance our health and well-being. So human health is dependent on the quality of air, water, soil and biodiversity, and therefore we have to maintain the quality of water, air, soil and biodiversity in our surrounding, because when these things are affected, that is quality of water, air, soil and biodiversity is affected, human health is also affected, and therefore we have to maintain these things in our environment because they are closely associated with our health. Let us talk about human health. Its definition: WHO, that is World Health Organization, has defined human health as the state of complete social, physical and mental well-being of a person. Human health is nothing but the state of complete social, physical and mental well-being of a person. Just absence of disease or infirmity doesn't mean that the person is healthy. Along with absence of disease and infirmity, there must be the state of complete social, physical and mental well-being. Then only we can say that the person is healthy. When environment in our environment in our surrounding is unhealthy, it leads to various problems like mental stress, anxieties, cancer and other diseases, and sometimes may cause disabilities of body organs. So unhealthy environment causes all these issues, so we have to maintain the quality of environment in our surrounding. Unhealthy environment also increases strain on physical capacities and affect reproductive capacity in humans. With growing industrialization, urbanization and growing population, pollution levels are continuously increasing, and increase in pollution level results in health hazards. So ultimately the things which are happening due to growing industrialization, urbanization, growing population are resulting in health hazards. So these things are closely related to human health. In this session we are going to talk about three basic components of environment and their relation with human health, that is water, air and soil. So let us talk about water first. As we all know, water is called as a life because it is essential for all the life forms on the earth for survival, and this availability and quality of water resources is being degraded day by day due to human activities. Uncontrolled development, growing population, growing industrialization, all these things are responsible for the degradation of availability and quality of water. In India, more than 50% of the people do not have access to potable drinking water. More than 50% of the Indian people are not getting fresh and pure water to drink. Of the total diseases, 80% diseases are waterborne, which these 80% diseases which are waterborne are caused due to the discharge of pollutants in our water bodies. It means 80% diseases are caused due to pollution, and this pollution kills 13 million people in India in a year. So there is a huge loss of life which is caused due to water pollution in India. India is losing more than 13 million people in a year due to water pollution. So, this is the huge loss of life which is caused due to water pollution. Now, how is water pollution caused? Water pollution is caused due to discharge of domestic sewage in our water bodies. In our previous sessions, we have talked that Indian cities are not having facility of domestic sewage treatment, due to which the total amount of domestic sewage is directly discharged in water bodies, and this discharge of untreated sewage, especially domestic sewage, increases chances of cholera, typhoid, diarrhea, etc. Discharge of untreated sewage in water bodies increases chances of cholera, typhoid and diarrhea. On the other hand, industries are also adding continuously toxic effluents and heavy metals in our water bodies. Industries are continuously discharging heavy metals and toxic compounds in our water bodies, due to which pollution levels are continuously rising. Along with this, leaching and sipping of agrochemicals, synthetic organic chemicals and persistent organic pollutants get released into surface and groundwater affects human health. Along with domestic industrial sewage and industrial sewage, agricultural sector is also responsible for water pollution, because leaching and sipping of these agrochemicals, that is chemical fertilizers and pesticides, synthetic organic chemicals means the chemicals which are derived by humans, and persistent organic pollutants. These persistent organic pollutants can persist in environment for longer time, which may cause biomagnification in food chains, food webs. So, all these things which are released into surface and groundwater affects human health. So, this is how water pollution level is rising in India, due to which we can see the huge loss of life in India. So, water pollution is causing death of millions of people in India. If we want to stop this condition of water pollution, then we have to minimize discharge of effluent in water bodies, either domestic or industrial. We have to minimize pollution level by using modern methods, effluent treatment methods. So, this is how our water is related to human health. Let us see some pictures that shows the condition of water pollution in our country. So, here is one picture where we can see garbage is there in our water bodies, and we are having one more picture that tells us how is solid waste thrown in our water bodies, which causes a huge amount of water pollution. So, this is all about relationship between water and health. If we want to maintain health and well-being, then we have to maintain the quality of water resources in our surrounding. Now, after talking about water, let us talk about next component, second component, that is air. Let us talk about air and health. Air is a mixture of gases. In fresh and pure atmosphere, in fresh and pure air, different gases are there like oxygen, nitrogen, argon, carbon dioxide, etc. As we all know, in fresh and pure atmosphere, amount of oxygen present is 21%, amount of nitrogen present is 78%, amount of argon present is 0.9%, and amount of carbon dioxide present is 0.03%. Now, this natural composition of atmosphere is altered due to primary and secondary pollutants in the atmosphere. Primary and secondary pollutants are responsible for the alteration of natural composition of atmosphere. Now, what is meant by primary pollutants? Primary pollutants are the pollutants which are directly discharged from their sources. Primary pollutants are the pollutants which are emitted directly from sources. Examples are sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter, etc. So, these are the examples of primary pollutants. Now, secondary pollutants. Secondary pollutants are not directly emitted from the sources, but they form in atmosphere as a result of a reaction of primary pollutants with molecules in atmosphere. So secondary pollutants are formed in atmosphere due to reaction of primary pollutants with molecules in atmosphere. For example, photochemical smog. Photochemical smog is the result of reaction of primary pollutants with molecules in air such as molecular oxygen, water and hydrocarbons. So this is how primary and secondary pollutants alter the composition of natural atmosphere. Now this alteration in the natural composition of atmosphere changes quality of air and causes harm to organism and environment. Alteration in the natural composition of atmosphere results in the loss of environment and health of organisms. As air is a movable entity, it affects global health. Air is a movable entity, so it affects global health. Now, in our previous sessions, we have already talked about the urban air quality. In our previous session, while discussing urban environmental issues, we have seen that 98% of the cities in middle and low income countries do not meet WHO's air quality standards. So this is how the situation of urban areas about air pollution. Recently in 2019, one report was published about the world's most polluted cities in the world, and according to this report, India has its 14 cities in the list of world's top 20 most polluted cities, and unfortunately Ghaziabad is at the first rank. The most polluted city in the world is Ghaziabad from India. Hotan from China is at second position. Gujranwala and Faisalabad both are from Pakistan are at third and fourth position respectively, and Delhi from India is at fifth position. And among 20 cities in the world, 14 cities are from India. So the situation of urban air quality in India is really destructive, disastrous. If we talk about Delhi, then in 2018, 2 weeks of office and school work was stopped in Delhi in 2018, as we are having this our capital city in the list of top 20 most polluted cities in the world. In India, more than 3 million deaths occur in a year due to air pollution. We are losing more than 3 million people in a year due to air pollution. So here also there is a huge loss of life which is caused due to air pollution. Now particulate matter causes heart, respiratory and lung disorders and increases risk of cancer. Particulate matter causes heart, respiratory and lung disorders and can cause increased risk of cancer. Increased emission of greenhouse gases results in global warming, and increasing global warming is resulting in communicable and skin diseases. Global warming is causing communicable diseases and skin diseases in humans. Vehicular emissions, soot, carbon dioxide causes irritation of eyes, nose and increase asthmatic conditions and bronchitis in humans. Vehicular emissions, soot, carbon dioxide causes irritation of eyes, nose and increase asthmatic conditions and bronchitis in humans. Now smog, which is the mixture of smoke and fog, the smog causes various diseases regarding our respiratory system. So smog results in respiratory diseases and it decreases visibility, and decrease in visibility causes road accidents. Now pure air is the basic necessity of life, and if it is degraded, it hits life of all forms. When air is degraded, as it is one of the basic necessity, when air is degraded, it hits life of all forms. So this is all about relationship between air and human health. Now after studying air and health, let us talk about one of the important case study in India, that is Delhi pollution, a case study of Delhi pollution. In October 2016, Delhi met with one of its worst episode of smoke. One of its most worst episode of smog, in where particulate matter of 2.5 micron level rose to 750 micrograms per meter cube. The level of PM 2.5 rose to 750 micrograms per cubic meter, that is 12 times the permissible limit. According to National Ambient Air Quality Standards, permissible limit for PM 2.5 is 60 microgram per cubic meter, and in October 2016 the level of PM 2.5 was 750 micrograms per meter cube. Visibility was badly affected and had resulted in cancellation of flights, school closure, etc. So as said earlier, smog affects visibility. In Delhi also, visibility was badly affected and had resulted in cancellation of many flights and school closure, etc. Merely breathing in air was like smoking 50 cigarettes in a day. So just breathing in air was also become difficult, because merely breathing in air was like smoking 50 cigarettes in a day, and due to which Indian government had declared the situation as an emergency. So Indian government had declared the situation as an emergency. As a result, in action plans, Delhi government planned to shift petrol and diesel vehicles to compressed natural gas, that is CNG. So in the plan of actions, Delhi government planned to shift all petrol and diesel vehicles to CNG, and it was the first time in India that CNG was introduced for public transport effectively. Delhi government also shifted highly polluted industries out of Delhi. So this is how the steps taken by Delhi government for reduction of the situation. Now burning crop residues also increased during the year between 2010 to 19. Multiple new settlements and new activities boomed in the area. If we talk about Delhi's population, then in 2001 the population of Delhi and NCR, National Capital Region, was 16.6 million. Delhi's population in 2001 was 16.6 million, and in 2011 it was 46.1 million. So in the span of 10 years, Delhi's population was increased by 3 times. So Delhi government took steps to control number of private vehicles on the road. Well-known odd even formula was introduced during the worst episode of smog, or after the worst episode of smog. Odd even formula was introduced. This includes running private vehicles with odd vehicle numbers on odd dates and even numbered vehicles on even dates. Further restrictions include ban on diesel generators, brick kilns and stone crushers. So further restrictions include ban on diesel generator sets, closure of brick kilns and stone crushers, shutdown of Badrapur power plant in winter, etc. So these are some of the steps taken after 2016 to make the pollution level in Delhi better. So this is how the steps were taken by the Delhi government to minimize the pollution level. Here are some pictures showing smog level in Delhi. It is the picture taken at India Gate. So this is how the visibility was affected due to smog. Now after talking about case study in Delhi, let us talk about the next important point, that is soil and health. How is soil related to human health? Now soil pollution is caused due to discharge of pollutants in soil. When different pollutants are discharged in soil, it leads to soil pollution. Inappropriate agricultural practices cause food contamination that creates health issues. So contaminated food productions are responsible for health issues. Non-biodegradable compounds, chemicals, persistent organic pollutants entering in our food chain, resulting in biomagnification. Biomagnification means accumulation of heavy metals, various dangerous elements in our water bodies or in our body organs. This process is called as a biomagnification. And non-biodegradable compounds, chemicals, persistent organic pollutants are responsible for biomagnification because they enter in our food chain, because when we use them on in our agricultural practices, they enter in our food chain and causes biomagnification. So here is the picture of biomedical waste. When we throw biomedical waste on ground, it leads to loss of flora and fauna in that area. So biomedical waste is also dangerous. Let us talk about radioactivity and human health. Radioactivity is nothing but emission of particles, electromagnetic rays from nucleus of unstable atom. So radioactivity is nothing but emission of particles and electromagnetic rays from the nucleus of unstable atoms. Nuclear tests, the warfare in countries, nuclear tests, warfare in countries, accidents in nuclear power plants result in radioactive pollution. So these are the sources of radioactive pollution: nuclear tests, the warfare in countries, and accidents in radionuclear power plants. Uranium 235, strontium 90, iodine 131, cesium 137 are major radio pollutants. Here 235, 90, 131 indicates mass number, and mass number is nothing but total number of protons and neutrons in a nucleus. So these are some of the major radio pollutants like uranium 235, strontium 90, iodine 131, cesium 137. Now just before few seconds we talked about the accidents in nuclear power plants, and one of the well-known example of accident in nuclear power plants is Chernobyl accident. In nuclear power plant in Ukraine on 26th of April 1986. So here is the picture of Chernobyl disaster. The accident happened in Chernobyl power plant in Ukraine on 26th April 1986. As per Union of Concerned Scientists, 4,000 to 27,000 people were died, while Greenpeace estimated that 93,000 to 2 lakh people were died due to the accident in Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Now death toll is hard to calculate as many people did not die as an immediate result of the explosion. So this is how accidents in nuclear power plants results in disastrous effects. Now accumulation of radionuclides in human tissues causes cancer, gene mutation. Accumulation of radionuclides in human tissues lead to cancer, gene mutation means mutational changes, and birth of abnormal babies with malformed organs. So these are the effects of radioactive or radioactivity pollution or radio pollution. These kinds of problems were seen in Japan after the nuclear attack of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So radioactive pollution is also dangerous when different accidents occur in radionuclear power plants. So this is all about radioactivity and health. So here we have talked about three important points, that is water and health, air and health, and soil and health. And along with this we have also talked about radioactivity and human health. This is all about human environment and human health. Thank you.